Hey besties, welcome back to Sabey Baby Talks. I hope you've had a wonderful week, a stress-free week. I have not. Um, guys, I have a wedding to go to in 2 weeks, right? Where I need like multiple different outfits and late notice, of course. And trying to find the outfits and get everything tailored and fitted and then matching headpieces and this and that. I've been so stressed. Not to mention, I fly out of the country the day after. So, there's been a lot going on, and I have been this close to banging my head off a wall. But there we go, it's fine. It'll all work out. Oh, and I've also been stress exercising. I don't know if anyone else does this. I've been just sort of like plodding along in the gym as I normally do. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this dress that I'm going to wear for the wedding, I want to look like 10-10 in this dress because the dress is so beautiful. So now I'm stress exercising 3 times yesterday. I worked out. Yeah, because I have 2 weeks. I'm on a mission. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about us as women speaking our mind. And I mean, like, really speaking our mind, what we truly want to say that so many times I think a lot of us have not said because one reason or another. And I have really grown as I've grown to understand that speak in your mind when it's safe. And I know that shouldn't even be said because, anyway, let's get into the whole thing. I'm just getting comfy so we can talk. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about speaking our mind. And I really feel like, so obviously from years and years ago, women couldn't vote and the pay gap and whatever. And we've come far from that. We can now vote. We've come somewhat a distance from where we used to be. However, there is still, and I feel like now more than ever, there's such a danger. There's such a danger for women. Like, it makes me so irate that even if I go to get in my car at night, I'll check around me, I have my keys in my hands, I get in the car, and I don't even think I am paranoid because the things I've heard, I turn around, make sure that my back seats, no one's in my car, I lock my doors as soon as I get in. When I come in the house, I turn the lights on, and I would never walk anywhere on my own at night. And I know a lot of women are like that, and we have to be like that because of things that happen, and that's so wrong. That's so wrong that we have to be like that. And the men in my life, like, I have explained to them over and over again, do you know what that feels like? To have to be that cautious and that on edge and that aware all the time. Like, a man could walk down the street. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men, but 99.9% of the time it happens to a woman. A man can walk down the street at night and he won't think, is there someone behind me? I shouldn't put both earphones in. I need to be on the phone to someone. A man will get in a taxi and not think like, are we going in the right direction? A man will go out at night, get in his car, and not think twice. Women do not have that privilege. Because what if? Because it does happen. And that makes me so angry that we even have to live like that. Like, that is so wrong. Which, in turn, makes it really hard, I think, when women are put in situations where they're not comfortable and they want to say, hold on a minute, I don't like this, or I'm not comfortable doing this, or, no. I think that it makes it really hard for women to do that a lot of the time, to actually speak and speak up and say, no, like, I'm not doing that, or I don't like that you just did that, because there's always that fear, that underlying fear of what if that man then turns angry and does something because you've shut them down or because you've said no. Again, it's like my biggest thing. I so wish that we didn't have to live like that. It's so wrong. Another thing is there's such a stereotype of like a good woman, and I hate it. I hate it that a good woman doesn't speak up, sits quietly, stays behind a man, does what she's told, you know, the typical good woman. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because why? Why should we shut up, sit down, be quiet, look a certain way, dress a certain way, present ourselves and so why? Because a man thinks that that's what we should do? I don't think so. But again, because of the fear of what men have done to women in the past and continue to do, I don't know, I think some women think, okay, well, I kind of have to do that, or have to be like that, just in case. It's so hard. And it happens everywhere, like at work, when women are at work, sexually, when women are at home, whatever. Like, that thing of being a good woman and being a certain way is underlying, like, expected. And I think men get so shocked when you don't want to be like that, or when you do turn around and say, like, no, absolutely not, like, I'm not doing that, or I don't like that. When you actually use your voice and speak up, it shocks a lot of them. You know, like, for example, when you know those boys that will catcall you on the street, or come to you in a club and try and speak to you, or I don't know, wherever you're at, in the gym, whatever, or they'll message you. A lot of the time it happens on like Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, because I've had it myself. A man will message you, and if you turn around and say like, no, I'm not interested, or you don't reply, especially when you don't reply, then you get, well, you're ugly anyway, you're a this, you're a that, you're a slut, no one wants you. Like, they start insulting you. That's because these insecure men do not know how to take rejection. Because men are so used to women from the past just saying yes to appease them, or going along with things, or whatever, and we're not doing it anymore. As a woman, if I don't want to do something, if I am not comfortable with something, and if I don't like the way you've just said or done something, I will tell you. And I know that then could put me, and has put me before, in a situation where I could be in danger, but I will not anymore say yes just to make a man happy. Ever. Ever. Now, that's my choice. But I really want it to be a thing where women know that you don't have to go along with stuff. You don't have to do it just to make a man happy. Like, these men that will insult you when you shut them down, they're shocked. They're literally shocked. They're like, oh my God, has she just said no to me? Like, has she didn't, she's rejected me. She doesn't want that, or she's stood up for herself. And they're like, huh? They don't get it. But that should be, I'm not saying it is, because they sometimes then do make it our problem, but that should be their problem. Just because you're insecure and you have the emotional maturity of a gnat is not a woman's problem. And it makes me so angry as well, like this whole narrative of, well, women should have to learn to protect themselves, and women should have to learn to do this, and women should have to learn to do that. No. Men should learn to control themselves, control their anger, and stop behaving in the way that they have done for years and continue to do. They're the problem, not us. But the problem on top of the problem is that they don't see that. Someone that I knew a while ago, we were having a conversation about all this kind of stuff and saying no and speaking up if you're not happy. And she said to me, which has stuck with me, I probably wouldn't have had sex, I don't know if I can say it on here, intercourse, the amount of times I had, if I'd have just said what I actually wanted to say and say, like, no, I don't want to do that. Or, like, if I hadn't just gone along with it to appease a man. And I thought, you know what, yeah. I think everyone's been in that situation where they've just done it to, or not even just sex, but a lot of things. I think you could look back on your life and think, well, I probably wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have done that, and I didn't really like that, but I did it anyway. We've got to stop doing that. If every single woman on planet Earth started saying no, then you're going to have to get used to it as a man. And you're going to have to learn to control yourself, because you can't go around killing all the women. I mean, probably give it a good go. Nothing would surprise me, but you can't, we have to try and take some control back. I myself have been in many a situation where I have said, I don't like that. I have said, I'm not happy with that. I've said no. I've said I didn't like how you spoke to me. I've said all of that stuff. And I get like, I can't speak about things because of legal things, but I really, trust me, I'm not saying, like, what I'm trying to say to you is I'm fully aware that it's not always safe to voice your opinion. But I think collectively as women, we need to, even if it's subtly, start making changes and start saying, like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. And I'm at a point now where I will just point blank, if you're going to do something, then you're going to do something. Because I'm not going to say yes just to make a man happy. Ever, 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 ever. I'm sick of this staying quiet and being this certain way and sit down and shut up, and I'm bored of it. I'm so bored of it. Women are such incredible, powerful, smart, clever, beautiful people, and I'm sick of men making us feel below that and under them. I'm so sick of it. I've always spoke my mind, always, always, always. And like I said before, it's got me in some situations. But I will never stop speaking my mind, because that is how I am through and through. And sometimes it has got to points where I think I have been silenced about my opinions and my feelings and stuff. And I will never be in that position again. I will never allow a man to make me feel like that again and make me feel like I'm underneath them and I have to be a certain way because that's what they want. But when I went through something where I couldn't speak my mind, again, like I say, I know what it feels like. When I went through something like that afterwards, I had to retrain myself to be like, you can speak your mind, Emily. You can say no to people. You can say you don't like something. That's okay. So I used to look at myself in the mirror. Honestly, I used to look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, no, I don't think I will do that, thank you. No, I don't like that, thank you. And I kept practicing it, and sometimes I still do it. Like, if there's a situation and I think, oh, I didn't like that, I will be driving along and I'll be like going over the conversation out loud and I'll be like, no, I didn't like that you did that, or I don't want that again, or I didn't want it, or I don't, whatever it may be, whatever kind of situation, but I didn't like that you said that, I don't like how you spoke to me, whatever. But I think it's really important when saying no and voicing your opinion is doing it from the start. From the start with anyone, make it known that you're like that. Don't stop letting shit slide, because I think we do that a lot. Like, we make excuses, like a man will say something to us and we think, oh, maybe that was just a mistake, or like maybe they didn't mean it like that, and we make excuses. And we've got to stop doing that from day dot, from the very beginning of whatever conversation, relationship, encounter it is. Because if you do it from the beginning, I think, which is what I do, I think then yes, they'll say things like, oh, I didn't want you anyway. I think, yeah, whatever, mate. Like, you're insecure, piss off. I'm not interested anyway. But I think if you do it from the beginning, you're letting them know that, like, you're not to be pushed around. You're not to be manipulated. You're not to be any of these things, because you are so strong in yourself and your morals and your boundaries and your, who you are as a person, that you're more than happy to say no and walk away. And I know this is such it's a two-sided coin situation, because on one hand, yes, every single woman on planet Earth should have a right to safely disagree with something, to safely reject someone, to safely and that, on the other side of the coin, it isn't true. It isn't that isn't the situation. Because, like I said at the beginning of this, there's that constant thing in the back of our heads that thinks, well, am I going to put myself in danger by saying this? But I don't know how, like, we can collectively just be like, fuck this. Like, we're not doing it. We're not. And I think there is more and more women sort of, I think women are having to, but we're forced in this position to be so strong and put so many walls up and stuff. But that might be a good thing in the long run, because the more and more women that have this mindset of, like, I'm not going to be pushed around, I'm not going to be made to feel underneath a man, I'm not going to be made to be a certain way. I think the more and more and more of us that do that, eventually men are going to have no choice but to be like, okay, like, that's how women are. And it's so funny because, like, all these men, like, want, like, this soft, motherly, lovely woman. And I think, that's so baffling to me. How do you, if a man doesn't create a safe environment for a woman to be that way, a woman is not going to be like that, because we've had to put up so many defences, so many walls, so many barriers, so many fronts to keep ourselves safe, that the thought of knocking that down for anyone, why would we do that? All you hear on social media and TV and stuff is about a man killed his wife, a man killed his partner, a man killed his girlfriend, a man did this, did that to a woman, grabbed her off the street, waited in her car, I don't know, like, you hear about it all the time. And so women have been forced to, like, build themselves up into this really strong thing, so as to try and not be in that position. Either that, or they just say yes, yes, yes to whatever a man asks to keep themselves safe. And then a man will come along and be like, well, why are you like that? Like, why are you not soft and motherly and lovely and all of it? Well, why do you think? It's you guys that have done that to us, and then you're wondering why. Thickos. And I genuinely want to make it a thing. Like when I was speaking earlier about women constantly being told what to do to keep themselves safe. If we have to be told that, these boys from a young age in school should be taught how to treat women, because it's been so normalised, the way that boys are growing up and their minds are being, that what they're being taught and how to treat women is so wrong. If women have to learn how to keep themselves safe, then boys and men should be taught. I mean, it's so wrong. But they should be taught how to treat a woman, and what to do and what not to do, and it's crazy that that's even a thing. But I personally, for every woman that can't speak their mind or is in a situation where they can't say what they want to say, I will forever, ever, ever speak up for myself and for you, because I've been there and I never, ever, ever want to be in that position again. And I'm done saying yes, going along with things, coming home. Do you know, I've come home from dates, not recently, thank God. I'm very happy at the minute, but years ago when I was younger and before I learned to really be like, fuck off, I have come home from things and cried and thought I didn't like that, but why didn't I say? Well, because I'm scared, because I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want that anymore. I don't want that for any woman. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And I'm sick of hearing men talking about women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that, women. Goes one in one ear and out the other for me, because there's a lot of things. The problem starts with men always, and there's a lot of things that men shouldn't do before you come speaking about what women should and shouldn't do. And I'm riled up now. Even talking about it, I'm riled up. But please just know that for anyone that's in a position where they feel that they can't speak up, I will always, always be a voice for women to be how they want to be and to live the life that they deserve to live. And I feel emotional. As sad as it is to say, but you know where I'm coming from. If you feel you are safe to do so, speak up. Speak up in some way. And when you meet someone, be the woman you are, not the woman that they want you to be. And if they don't like it, the door's over there. From day dot. So, girls, I really hope you understand. It was just something that I really wanted to talk about because it is something that makes me irate. And I think I know you're going to know where I'm coming from with it all. But I hope it made sense to you because, like I said, it's a very two-sided coin. Like, it's very on one hand this, on one hand that. But me personally, I'm done with it all. I'm done with it all. And I want to safely encourage other women to stand up for themselves and to be the woman they want to be. Always. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do this, you can't do that. You really can. You really, really can. And there's always a way out of things if you're stuck and you're in a position where you feel like you can't speak your mind. My messages are always open, as per. You guys know where to find me, and I will see you in next week's episode of Saber Baby Talks. I love you all. Have a great weekend.